So the Association of Academic Physiatrists as a group came together to try to fix one of the problems that we've seen on the application side, which is you get a lot of kind of generic letters of recommendation that are like, Joe showed up, he was on time, he was nice, he was dressed well, staff liked him. That's better than a letter that says that he showed up unkempt and staff didn't like him, but it doesn't really tell me a lot about how is this person going to fit in the program? What is their aptitude? How willing were they to take on additional patient tasks? And so this was kind of designed to be an additional evaluation tool. So the recommendation, the suggestion is that every applicant try to have at least one for the upcoming application cycle. It's not required, but it's kind of encouraged.
From another physiatrist.
From another physiatrist. Can be either private practice, academic, any physiatrist can go in and fill out the form through the AAP. And the idea is to give a little bit more objective data on how does this potential residency applicant perform, what are their aptitudes, what level of support do they anticipate that they're going to need, and still provide some narrative comment. I think there's about a 300-word narrative that you can still provide about the applicant. But the idea is to give a lot more structure so that when you read a SLOE as kind of the abbreviation, that you can get a lot more information in it than a standard letter. That's kind of the goal for it.
Yeah, so it's the SLOE, Standard Letter of Evaluation. And so so you're supposed to go through and kind of rank top 10, top half, bottom half, something like that, or top third, middle third, or bottom third, for each thing. And then they have a bunch of categories. And so people are supposed to go through and rank each student. That's how I took it. Now, I've never written one, and I've read one. And I looked at it and I go, what is this? So I didn't even know what it was when I read it. So I'm not in a huge favor of it. And then I looked up some of the stats on it. And conceptually, if you have 100 students, 10% of them should be in the top 10%. Okay, then, maybe another 45% should be in the top third, and 45% should be in the bottom third. That's not how it pans out when they did the stats. It still comes out biased. More than 10% of the students were in the top 10%, and more than half the students were in the top third, and not very many were in the bottom third. That's how AI gave it to me when I looked it up and tried to sort it. Did you try to do that?
So I haven't used the AI or ChatGPT on it. So
okay.
So this is kind of interesting. We're kind of two different programs with two different approaches. So
yeah.
We're trying to adopt the SLOE for our students who are rotating through this year. And so we've been trying to utilize the tool. But there's programs on both sides. There's some who are adopting it. There are some who are saying this doesn't really fit into our workflow. There's a lot of challenges that come with new change. And so each program's trying to kind of feel that out. And I think that was kind of the point behind the AAP not making it a requirement for applying this year. And so there's also been a suggestion that to try and put some concerns to bed for students that if you don't have one, the point is that shouldn't be held against a student this year either. So the idea is having one should be able to provide additional information, but the absence of one shouldn't punish or penalize the student.
Is this can this replace a letter of recommendation?
Correct. So this would be in place of, so if you were rotating with me as a student for a couple of weeks, you could either ask me for a narrative letter if you wanted that, or you could ask for a standardized letter of evaluation.
Got it.
And then we could have a discussion of whether I felt like I had enough information to write a SLOE on your behalf.